I'm sorry, please continue.
No, I was just using that as an example. I also don't think that it would be a fair thing for people to not be able to have the program. Like, I don't think that you should take it away from everybody just because a few, because the bad actors and people were sitting on it for a long time. These people were in need, and like somebody said earlier, it now in 2025 you have to have a job, you have to have employment in order to keep them Section 8 vouchers. And if you don't, then you have to have some kind of disability. It has to be some kind of income in order, and a decent income, but something where they're able to you're able to pay the balance or whatever it is that the apartment is worth. So I don't understand this concept or how. Have y'all been in any Section 8 housing? Do y'all know anybody? Like, you have to speak from a more personal standpoint and more knowledgeable. Y'all just be throwing shit in the air and don't be knowing what the fuck y'all talking about.
Those are great points. Just real quick, I think Brooklyn raises like a very, very important point when it comes to folks who are using Section 8 vouchers and who are working with their local housing administration agencies. What Brooklyn raised was the fact that, like, whenever a person who has a voucher, a housing voucher, has an issue, they can go to their local agency and that agency can advocate on their behalf. So what you ultimately have is someone who's standing in on behalf of the tenant to advocate for them when it comes to, let's say, unfair leasing terms, when it comes to some kind of property issue, and essentially has, for lack of a better term, counsel, right, to advocate for them. I mean, I've dealt with cases where you had a private landlord, as I have alluded to before, just unfavorable leasing terms and tried to increase the rent out of nowhere on the tenant who had been there for years. And the agency was like, no, we're like, until the lease is up, we're not negotiating on the leasing terms. Like, the terms are locked in just based on basic contract law. Leaving aside the whole fair housing issue, like, the terms are locked in. You can't just change them willy-nilly. When you don't have someone like that advocating for you, like, it may fuck around and end up in an unfavorable situation where, like, all of a sudden you're paying a whole bunch of money for rent, or you have some weird-ass term, and then you end up evicted, right? And then you have to try to figure things out on the back end. Like, and I think that's, like, what Brooklyn raised. I think that's one of the reasons why there are still landlords who do not want to deal with individuals on Section 8 because they have someone they have to deal with, particularly the agency, who can actually advocate for those tenants and actually know about housing law, as opposed to trying to take advantage of tenants who may not know a lot about it. So I think those are great points that Brooklyn raised.
Hey, give me a second, yeah. Can I get my phone?
They're playing Jay-Z now to get me out. That's hilarious.
What, man? He getting the what? But this is the operating and they got dude on the bottom. Oh, okay. Dude was in here recording us again. Oh, that's smart. That's pretty smart. Yeah, we used to
only Jews moving units in pet juicing us.
That was my point. That was my earlier point about landlord, like the individual landlord, or who don't have a second aid doctor, or you can argue there are some that are a little predatory when it comes to their tenants. Yeah, they abuse the fact that they don't understand shit. They abuse the fact that they I think it's abuse the fact that they are dependent on their housing, and they will sometimes even strong on it. A lot of aspirations like that. So. But I don't know about the just working. They'll take it like
should.
I mean, this is what I would say. A lot of us live in individualism. Like one of the ladies said, well, in my place, it doesn't do that. That doesn't mean it's not other places. If you go to these projects, in a lot of these Section 8 in public housing,
See, that's what I want. Let me stop you. It's a different program when you live in the projects. It's not Section 8.
If you go to public housing in a lot of these ghettos, what they call them, hoods and projects, you'll see that they're supposed to be inspected by these governmental agencies. And if they're being inspected, why are these people having to live in houses with broken walls, doors, tubs from the 1800s, roaches, rats? I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Right. So, like I was about to say, you got the program. Like, that's the part of the reason why y'all be speaking on things that y'all have no clue of. It's the
Get 'em, girl.
program is totally different from Section 8. It's a different program. Like, they even have here in Georgia, they call it based on income. So if you make a low income but you don't have a Section 8 voucher, and they don't even have project housing here anymore. You can rent from a landlord who's offering rent based on income. Those houses, those properties be kind of dilapidated, yes. But that's a different program, and that's the problem in which y'all speak of. Y'all don't know exactly what y'all speaking of, and you're taking one scenario and you're mixing it with another, and it's not the same.
So how do you know what we know? That's what you don't know what we know.
I'm telling you, when you said project apartments, you told the whole story that you don't know. We're talking about Section 8. Right, it's a different. Those are two different programs. You can speak for one, and a lot of those apartments that are they aren't owned by they're not public housing. Those are a lot of those. I know it here in Georgia. A lot of that shit is owned by private companies that rent to low income people, and they have no restrictions at all.
Okay.
They don't have to hold up to the standards of a person that's renting their house out or a building out for Section 8. It's a different scenario.
Well, for full disclosure, my mother, she rents out properties and her townhomes. She takes Section 8 vouchers. It's a beautiful townhome. So it's just simply not true that you have. It's actually a very gross stereotype that I think is used to perpetuate this idea that people should be on public assistance, that folks who are using Section 8 vouchers are ended up in dilapidated homes. It's just simply not true.
Well, I can say what I've seen. You guys can't take my word, and they shopping around for that. So what I'm saying is to say just because in your city the Section 8 houses are not that way does not mean other cities they're not. You have not been to every Section 8 house in every state, so you can't say that.
We can't just go by all these anecdotes. At some point, they're talking about how to fix the system, right? That's the basis of this conversation. We can't have a conversation fixing the system that's going by your solo anecdotes.
So, I'm saying it's all.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's the conclusion. As President Jim was saying, Section 8 housing is not a sector, there's public housing. And one of the ways people move out of public housing is using Section 8 to go in a private market, right? From a landlord that accepts, and in some states they have to accept, right? Section 8 vouchers on the private market. Those Section 8 housing is now a thing. It's not administered by the government. It might be dilapidated as any house could be on a private market and command a certain price for it, right? But it's a private market, like a regular rent, right? Except, I guess, some percentage, I think 17, it depends, right? Somebody, more information can talk about it, is covered by the voucher. That's all, right? If people dislike public housing, Section 8 is one of the ways people move out from public housing.
And not to mention that Section 8 has a program attached to it that allows those people who live in Section 8, it's like, yeah, that allows the people in Section 8 to purchase a home with a stipend from the government, under restrictions, of course, but they allow these people to take their voucher and purchase a home. And you want that to go away is ridiculous. I mean, that should have.
I'll be honest, the last part you just said, you just put nothing in my house.
Some people don't, but people that be having they get into the street, or if they have like my aunt, like I told you, she works for the Section 8 College Park. She, like, when you have one of those kind of counselors, you know, the people that, you know, walk you through and do all your paperwork, some people explain that to you, some of them don't. My aunt is one of them that do. But, you know, one of my friends
It's on any website for that.
and it's on all the
It's on
websites.
all websites.
But my friend in New York, she got it. That's how she got a house in New York City, in Queens. With a Section 8 voucher that she transferred over to purchase a home. So,
I kind of remember that people that was like, I'm assuming it was definitely the hood. I was like, I never heard that word.
a Section 8 is not only in the hood.
I know. I'm in
Public housing.
Yes, public housing is usually in the hood. Section 8, you could be in the uppity neighborhood. Great, amazing school district.
They got fucking Section 8.
If you want to find something, if you have decent credit, you can go into a good neighborhood with Section 8, guys.
They have a Section 8 program in every county, I think. I believe it's in every county. They have some kind of program in every county across America. And you would be surprised that a lot of some of the people that are renting the home in your neighborhood, they're on Section 8. And you wouldn't even know.
And you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know it.
I'm gonna be honest when it comes to the shit called public housing or businesses. I'm kind of looking into it, so I wouldn't have anything to say anything stupid like that.
No, it's simple. Public housing is projects. Those projects, all you can do is move from project to project. That's all you can do. You cannot go into any homes, any apartments. You are stuck to those buildings. That is public housing. You are stuck to those three. I know you guys are not in, for the ones that are not in New York, you are stuck into these little complex, whether they're 4 floors, 3 floors, whatever the case is. Section 8, you can go to Puerto Rico with Section 8. You can go to all states with Section 8. And once again, you can buy a home. Okay, but that also has to do with a lot of these people have a lot of evictions under their belt. They don't have the best credit, so they are not going to get what the ones that do have good credit or don't have any evictions. That's what it is.
I was gonna say they're literally like landlords that take advantage of people with bad credit. So they have so many different like ways of, you know, getting these people in these dilapidated properties, and they have nothing to do with Section 8 because a lot of those people don't have Section 8. Some people got kicked off the voucher because that happens, you know. Like, everybody don't keep their shit the whole, 30 years or whatever we wanted to say. Some people get kicked off the program. They have really, it's really strict. So if you have a son or a daughter that lives with you and that person gets in trouble with the law, you can get kicked out.
If you don't sell it, he gotta go. go.
Like easy. It's like, right? They are super strict when it comes to, because they know that it's, it's highly, like, people need it. So if you're not following the rules, they're gonna kick you fucking off the program and get somebody else in. That'll be somebody else's furniture.
And landlords sometimes will try to find violations so that so that the tenant can get kicked off the Section 8, because they know that once the tenant's kicked off the Section 8 housing voucher program, they're unlikely to be able to afford the rent, and so it effectively becomes a form of eviction. And then just with public housing, it's also not the case that, and I know people know this, like there's public housing that we typically think of, but there's also public housing where it's actually in pretty good areas, and the public housing is actually pretty good, because you have a lot of wealthy areas that, they're reselling bullshit. They try to make sure that public housing doesn't exist in their suburbs, so that people can avail themselves to nicer school districts, nicer libraries, and so on.
Good morning, everybody. I'm dropping up on transit in existence. Furthermore, here in LA, and pretty much mostly in all states, you have to call if you see a new property being built, like a skyrise, call the leasing, call the management company and ask them, hey, do you have a list of HUD units that are set aside that are drastically reduced all the way down? So there's low income housing units, and then there's affordable housing units, and other units. So there's 3 different programs, probably more, depending if someone actually.
That's about to speak on what you just said. They call it everything. They call it essential. I'll say the word right, essential housing. I didn't know what I'll be honest, I didn't know what the fuck it was. I was looking for an apartment.
Raw life appears to be insufficient. A strong life appears to raw life.
Oh, that original price for that apartment is $1,800. We rented out for $1,300. It was a luxury apartment.
Yeah, like New York, you can live on Fifth Avenue for the low. So, for the low compared to everybody else is living on Fifth Avenue. So, yeah, and not to mention, like I was saying before, a lot of the properties that you see, especially the ones that's dilapidated, especially apartment buildings, because it's not too often that you see, like, unless it's like a highly populated area where, they have a lot of different apartments and people basically live on top of each other, like in New York, where people will have Section 8 in apartments. When you go to the outskirts, you go to the country, you go to, less populated areas, they living in houses. They're not living in apartment buildings with Section 8. So when you see somebody that live in an apartment building and the apartment building is dilapidated, I implore you to ask if that's a public housing, or if that's like, who's it owned by, basically. If it's owned by a private investor, or if it's owned by the city. Because you'll be surprised, a lot of these apartments are owned by by a private investor.
We can talk to Patrick's now, I think. But what he just said was like, he said that people got to get paid under $50,000 to approve for that. I think Houston is like that. And it's every apartment complex. I was researching, like, oh, we got this complex you can pay $150,000. I'm like, I don't know if I would approve for that, but I gotta see what's up, whatever, because it's like a lot of times, what she had told me was that some apartment complexes, whatever, they gotta have, was it 10% or 20% affordable apartments or units, things like that for people. So,
Yeah, they have like programs like the Second Chance program. Second Chance is like a private investor that they know that people, you know, they got bad credit, they probably got evicted from their last apartment, they let them, you know, live in their apartment. And it might be in the ghettos. It might be bullets flying all around them. But it's a chance for them to, you know, have a roof over their head, and they take advantage of that. They don't clean, they don't clean them properly. They don't renovate anything. Everything is old. You know, that type of shit happens too, and that has nothing to do with Section 8 or public housing for that matter.
When I left home, you cradled me since the
New York, there's actually access to use it. Right now, people are just talking about
crazy.
Well, I'm actually talking about, when I say
I think she was talking about Georgia and New York.
talking about Georgia and New York, yeah.
Okay, so I'm referring to New York and Texas because you're only going to speak on what you know, right? We're not just going to be speaking on every state. If you want to find out about your state, Google it and put it on the website and then you get information. I'm not going to give you the whole 50 states.
I am as high as
I don't 50 states. But nah,
I am as
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just look at the website. We're going to see from where we live, you know, what we're familiar with.
yeah, I mean, but I think everybody has the same thing. What we're saying is like that LA, New York, and different places like that. Is that I think us, we don't know that. Well, I didn't know that. I guess people that live in Beverly Hills in LA that was like talking about I live in a special unit. And I said, what the fuck is a special unit? My rent's like $800 a month. I'm like, wait a minute, the rent's $2,500. But some of those apartments like that have like a what's that?
Let's believe I'm on somebody Section 8 voucher list somewhere, because when I was in college, anytime a program opened up, I was goddamn signing up, because I swore that I wanted to be some Section 8 until I realized how strict it was, and I was like, I can't do that. They're gonna be over my business. But yeah, like what? I mean, and it affords people that only make a certain amount of money. Like you say like me personally, both my parents was gone by the time I was 21, and I'm basically out on my own. I got family and whatever, but I want to be able to take care of myself. So imagine a person like me that don't really have that much family like that, or really don't have nowhere to, they can't go to their parents' house basically. They need these type of programs, whether it's Section 8 or whether it's some kind of affordable housing. Like the affordable housing program here in Georgia is perfect for a young adult. It's perfect for a struggling single mother, or a guy, a man that he basically working, and he making ends meet, paycheck to paycheck, but he can't afford to pay $2,500 in rent because, contrary to popular belief, rent is high as hell here in Georgia, as hell. Okay. So yeah, I think all of the programs is necessary, and everybody needs to be able to get on it.
Hey, what you just said about Georgia? Hey, 2020, 21, I was out there visiting both of us with this. I was looking for the clothes. But a red light house is like $1,200, $1,300. That same house is $2,500. And if you want an apartment in the hood, it's like $1,000 to $1,200. Then for people that trying to come there and come visit, or people that can't really afford it, they were renting a room for another. It's like $800 to $1,000. So it's like Georgia's out. It's lots they got in your mind.
Yeah, the people renting rooms, oh my God, I don't, and then there's so many people that need, when I tell you that since 2020 to 2025 right now, I've seen the growth of the 10 cities under the expressways in Atlanta. I've seen it, and everywhere you go, it's homeless people just all over, in every county. I be trying to figure out, I was in Griffin like a few weeks ago. I'm saying to myself, how the fuck they get to Griffin? With no car. You all the way, you an hour away from the city. Like, it's homeless people everywhere, in every county, all over the place. And they going from being able, they staying at extended stays until they run out of money. Them extended stays are fucking, that's $1,000 a month or more. That shit is crazy. The people that own these hotels, the people that own these different properties, that live in all of these different countries. That's why I say immigration wasn't the problem with the poor people. It's the rich people that was the fucking problem. Like, I could point out a gang of people that's from Turkey, because I worked for a company, and it was a manufacturing company, and the owner and everybody in the executive office were from Turkey. Okay, a manufacturing company in Georgia, and it's several of them. Okay, I was worried about. They were talking about the Mexicans coming across the border. The problem is the people coming from Europe and Asia. Those are the immigrants. That's the issue.
What you just said, the one thing about places like Georgia, or anywhere, eastern from New York and LA is they selling homes for $1.5 million or even $900,000 to the south buying up all the homes. Even other companies that had apartment complexes, and they own different apartment complexes and stuff like that, move to Georgia and different things like that, and line up things and put new regulations. That's the reason why I see like Trump's and Buckhead is not there anymore, because they're trying to add a lot of rules to a lot of things, right? But and that's why you're seeing Bankhead is starting to be gentrified and be able to shop because of that too.
Yes, $800,000 property on Bankhead. With crackheads across the street. Like,
I said that. Trust me, like you gotta worry about trust. I live
in Bankhead too.
But this is the thing what you just said. The reason why a lot of people, like I said earlier, all the music in the room, our own people are selling us out. Meaning as in, a lot of people are not going to sell their homes, so a white person not paying the door half the time. This is my opinion, it's not a fact, it's just an opinion. I remember working on the movie, and so I came knocking on the door and say, hey, you want to sell your home? I'm like, well, I'm just renting this place, you should have booked right now. I'm not, it's not my home. Well, I want to go try to buy the home from them, and I look at the price of the home. The home was $200,000, but what I heard was for buying some homes for $300,000, $400,000, like double the price of how much the value is. And then some going around doing what you just said, they sell the home for 2 times higher or 3 times higher than what they bought it for. Now realize that people in Georgia, the average person's not getting paid. That they're not getting paid more than $4,000 or $5,000 a month, so they're not going to go to afford those homes.
What people supposed to do? I just said, for those that want the Section 8 program to go away, what y'all want people to do?
Oh, that was a question before I came in. They were asking.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because what the hell y'all want them to do?
They don't answer that part because they just assume that Section 8 is just chilling at home, not even working or nothing.
And somebody had mentioned they think that Section 8 should just be for old people. Well, let me tell you something about that. Most of these little apartment complexes that they're throwing up are for old people. They are covered, okay? Everywhere.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of 65 and over and 65 and over apartments.
I mean, like, damn, it's regular age people need apartments too. But they just throwing them up all over you, everywhere you go. In New York too, they got apartments 60, 55 and over. Yeah, Texas though.